You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 22, and today's topic is false flag events. Hey everyone, Adam Musalli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. And now, let's get started. Before we start, I have a short disclaimer here. I am not an activist, nor do I belong to any activist organization. I'm not a truther, nor I oppose truthers. I am not pro-government, nor against any. I'm just an observer, an independent, a researcher, and an educator. I rely on facts, evidence, and statistics. I don't rely on opinions and assumptions, though I respect people's opinions and I don't have to agree with any of them. All I see and hear these days from any side that oppose each other is one statement. It's you either with us or you're against us. And to me, this statement is for bullies. I honestly look around and see the pattern keeps turning around and around. Same people, same methods, same scenarios, same play, but different faces and different names. It's time to wake up and see what time it is. No actions needed, just awareness. So, as we continue our unofficial series about mainstream media and social deception, false flags events have been in action for a very long time. False flag events are based on covert operations conducted by governments, corporations, or other organizations, which are designed to appear as if they are being carried out by other entities. The name is derived from the military concept of flying the flag of a country other than one's own. False flag operations are not only limited to war and counterinsurgency operations. They also have been used in peacetime. For example, during Italy's strategy of tension, which is a way to control and manipulate the public opinion by using fear and other methods such as propaganda, disinformation, psychological warfares or psyops, as well as false flag terrorist actions. And of course, that includes bombings. By the way, false flag events or operations are not only exclusive to wars and politics. Yes, it's true that the false flag operations originate in warfare and government, but they also can occur in civilian settings among certain factions, such as in business, special interest groups, religions, political ideologies, and even campaigns for office. An example of false flag in politics is that a political party will vandalize, for example, a place that they own or belongs to them, and then they blame it on the opposed political party just to justify a certain agenda. Also in business and marketing, similar operations are being employed in some public relations campaigns, and this is called actually astroturfing, which is a term for formal public relation campaigns in politics and advertisement that seek to create the impression of being spontaneous or grassroots behavior. And by the way, grassroots behavior, it's the common people behavior. It's the norm behavior. And hence the reference that astroturf, which is artificial grass, is a metaphor to indicate fake grassroots support. You see, it's all playing on words here, but the concept is the same. So going back to false flag events in business and marketing, the goal of such operation in a campaign is to disguise the agenda of a client as an independent public reaction to some political entity, a politician, political group, product, service, or even event. Telemarketing firms practice false flag type behavior when they pretend to be a market research firm. And this is actually in business psychology, it's called sugging, which is also a market research term, means pretending to sell under research or selling under the guise of research. In some rare cases, false flag operations in business, members of an unpopular business will destroy some of their own property to conceal unrelated crime, such as safety violations, embezzlement, etc. But they make it appear as though the destruction was done by an ideological group who opposes them. It's same as when politicians, they do it in office or for a campaign they're running. Now, you may ask, have religions really been used to control humanity? I know you're waiting for me to talk about religions here, but on a serious note, you bet. Of course, and it becomes self-evident if we take a closer look at history. There was a time when religion was indistinguishable from the state. Either you were part of the church or you were considered as heretic. And heretic is a person who commits heresy. And that will lead to death in the name of God. I mean the church. So that is also the same statement, the same bully statement, you're either with us or against us. Even the work of scientists like Galileo was completely banned and disregarded for years. The whole system of religion was, and still in some cases, based on fear. If you don't do this, you'll go to hell. If you don't do that, God will not be pleased with you and you will suffer. If you don't pay taxes to the church, you'll be punished. By the way, it's not my goal to belittle or insult anyone's belief here. I really adore freedom. I mean, the harmless type of freedom. Really. My problem is not with faith, but with religion as an organization, which has been used as means of control. Why? To pit people against each other, create hatred and bigotry, and to entice terror and war. Religion in this context serves the purposes of many various global elites and agendas, or better say, elitist agendas. You see, for those who know me, I'm a multilingual person and I studied all major religions for years in their own original text. There are many points made in various religious texts that completely resonate with me, as I'm sure millions of people around the world. I've always felt that many of these texts were written in time far different from what we are living today. I believe these texts were taken, used, and rewritten by various people, which is why we see so many different versions. Ultimately, I believe original sacred events, teachings, and revelations have been concealed, and new versions were created in order to control the masses. And in some future episodes, I will show you that there is no terrorism exists in any religion, but that doesn't mean terrorism cannot wear a religious mask, especially during a false flag event. As a matter of fact, religions are the best mask to be worn in false flag events. And remember, this world isn't run by the God that people believe in. but it's run by God, G-O-D, which the elites believe in, and that is gold, oil, and drugs. God, gold, oil, and drugs. And nothing benefits currency traders more than civil and political instability. They short sell a currency and then devalue it. And that's how they make their billions. Going back to false flag operations, and as you know by now that it's been happening for a very long time, even pre-biblical time. But now, most of such covert operations are related to terrorism, which is just one example of this kind of control. You see, atrocities happen every day, and most of them go unreported. But the ones that we do hear about and we do see on the news have one thing in common, and that is blaming Muslims, labeling Muslims as terrorists, and then use that identification as justification to create a heightened national security state, and one in which the people's rights are continually diminished through quiet legislators. I personally believe these things are being used to justify the infiltration of other countries for ulterior motives. And I know I'm not alone in my thoughts. It seems clear that there is a wealth of evidence to prove this theory. But so many people are still believing everything they see and they hear on the television without ever questioning whether or not this is truth. No one said it better than Mark Twain in The Chronicle of Young Satan. He said, "The statesman will invent cheap lies, putting the blame upon the nation that is attacked, and every man will be glad of those conscious shooting falsities, and will diligently study them, and refuse to examine any refutations of them, and thus he will by convince himself that the war is just, and will thank God after the better sleep he enjoys after this process of grotesque self-deception." Now, such operation is called false flag terrorism, and it represents one modern-day example of how religion is used to create situation in which the 1% profit. We are constantly bombarded with the idea that terrorist attack like 9/11 was conducted by some people with box cutters, and other attacks such as the incident in France are a result of the Islamic State. And I also couldn't help to see on the TV that on the news that the guy who was supposedly responsible for the Las Vegas shooting, he also enrolled in the Islamic State just a couple of months before he died. The media couldn't help themselves. They just add the word Islam on anything just to make it sell. But really, I mean, is it really happening? Well, according to many, it's not. Millions, if not billions of people around the world believe that these are so-called terrorist attacks are not being executed by those who represent any kind of religion. People actually are starting to wake up to this fact and paying more attention to alternative media outlets. It seems clear that there is no religion which would actually support such actions. So to equate terrorism with the Muslim faith is completely absurd. False flag events are a very dangerous game to play. Look what happened after each attack or incident, and most likely they are false flag events. Most of these stories and events don't even add up. I mean, who is with just a little intelligent would believe most of these events which are happening these days? But certainly, if you always ask yourself this question, que bono, or for whose benefit, you will get an answer. I know sometimes certain truth can be hard to swallow, especially if they conflict with your belief system. In this day and age, new information is constantly emerging that is forcing people to question their beliefs. And I know it's not easy, but it's always in the best interests of ourselves and society at large to keep an open mind and consider alternative perspectives. I personally don't believe anything the mainstream media say. Their job is to sell stories, and they will create stories to sell, and I don't buy. And as governments, the media and organizations orchestrate false flag events, surely false flag events need people to be present there, acting as dead, wounded victims or witnesses. And that's what we are going to talk about in our next episode, crisis actors. Very interesting topic. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this episode on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Musalli, signing out.